Uh, yeah.
Good gaming, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Nider, and today we're gonna watch some new play cEDH. Actually, it's not. Well, I should stop saying that they are noobs because technically we've been playing with them for the last year now. It's been a year that we've been playing cEDH. We are learning. We are getting better. So in turn of there, we got Tymna Jeska, we got Korvold, Gluttonous King, Tayam, and Kinnan. This was played for fun. Small bantering event at the Scruffy Octopus. So deck tech, Tymna Jeska will try to go and find a way to make infinite mana, most probably with a Dockside, and then loop in Jeska to ping everybody out of their life. Jeska is get ETBs, get a loyalty number, minus X loyalty, ping X times 3, and then she can do that in a loop. Korvold wants to eat a bunch of treasure, pretty much sacrificing draw a card. It is a draw engine in the command zone. ETBs, sacrifice, draw a card, sacrifice something, draw a card, attack, sacrifice, draw a card. Tayam is a graveyard recursion shenanigans. One of the more tech intensive puzzle. I was speaking with a pilot and he's saying it's always like playing a puzzle. You always need to figure out which card, which piece you're missing, and how you're gonna deal with whatever happening on the board. And Kinnan, I use a bunch of Mother Rock, and I flip into big creatures. So we've got a Tayam player starting the game with a Gemstone Cavern. Got a Mox Diamond dropped by the JeskaTymna player. Pitching a Gemstone. I'm betting $5 that he either drew the Gemstone or kept it because he said, I'll pitch it to Mox Diamond Crypt. Mox Diamond and Crypt. 1, 2, 3. Magda. It's not the first time we see Magda. So Magda is one of the pieces that he will go get Cloudstone Curio to do the Infinite Treasure with Dogside. Or he will, I don't remember what he fetched the other night against me. Mox Opal for the Korvold player. Trying different settings with my microphone, so maybe good, maybe bad. My apologies if it's bad. More bad than good. Tayam player will go with the Dauntless Dismantler, one of the worst card that you get to see if you are on a artifact deck. And Tayam is on the opposite of that, absolutely creature based. Ancient Tomb. So Tayam drops a Nargansing Net. Drop a Chromox right after. So he is making a mistake here. We're pointing it out. You cannot, you need to pay attention because you cannot imprint an artifact. Phyrexian Metamorph is blue, but on the card it's saying non-land, non-artifact. So it is quite important to pay attention to these little details that may be changing a game. And for the Atraxa players out there, if you exile Mistolo Griffin with that, your Chromox will make a blue until you cast Mistolo Griffin. Then whenever Chromox tries to see the card that is exiled, the card will not be there and it will not be able to create a blue. Just in case. Funny interaction. Jeska attacking with Magda to make treasures. all in the hope of making mana later on. Talisman of Resilience for Korvold. Dauntless Dismantler doing work. It's always a nice thing when you start and you've got such a piece. So cracking Dauntless Dismantler X = 0. That will kill all of the 0 CMC mana rock. Since he will lose them, JeskaTymna will go fetch for something. Passes right after. So that's actually super bad because he was able to get a bunch of rocks out, forcing the Kinnan player to play Phyrex and Metamorph it as a copy of Magda, because Magda can actually swing and make a treasure. So it's going to use this treasure to cast Raggy. Goes to the Korvold player. This is a weird game because there's technically only Kinnan that is running blue, which is absolutely devastating. Tayam flash in Scrib Ranger. It's used for a return a forest under your control, untap target creature. Talongate of Medara will phase out Ragavan. Faberwilder meta MVP on the Tayam board. The good thing about Faberwilder is that he gets +1/+1 per color compared to the... what's the Dryad? There's one that is a 1/1 that does the same thing, but it does not get +1/+1 per color. Magda attacks, make a treasure, taps with the Arcane Signet to get Kinnan. Will tap an Ancient Tomb to get a Mana Vault. So knowing that there is the Dauntless Dismantler in the Tayam arsenal right now, I'd be worried about getting anything out. Magda and Ragavan swinging. Magda makes a treasure on attack, Ragavan on damage. 2 treasures. One and 2. Worldly Tutor on end of turn. We'll go get the Dockside, which is kind of weird. Dockside. Dockside, there is... So I'm saying I'm gonna lose my treasure, so I'm gonna crack it to kill Kinnan. Dockside D2Bs, it'll get 3 treasures, I believe, because the Phyrex and Metamorph is still an artifact, even though it's copying a Magda. Passes the turn. Tayam pays to Tayam casts Tayam. So it's a question of how can he get counters on his creatures. Tyvar. So Faberwilder taps and makes a color of every permanent you've got, every color on permanent you have. So he's making white, black, and green. So you can tap it and just... So -+1, so to untap Fabero, tap it again to cast Knight of the Reliquary. So we are starting to see a big board coming out. Sending Magda on Tayam, on JeskaTymna just to get a treasure. Dauntless Dismantler still in the graveyard. Recasting Kinnan. Politicking about where he is gonna go with the Jeska, with the creatures. He will actually go out. So he believes, well, technically Tayam is the problem here for sure. The question is, does he just only kill Scrib and Lanwarels, or does he go also for Kinnan or Dockside? He chooses to go Scrib, Findorn, and the Tayam's face, which is not a bad choice. I would have preferred for him to kill a Kinnan or a Dockside. Activate Scrib Ranger to untap Faeburrow. He will then use Knight of the Reliquary to go get Gavani Township. Gavani Township is a land that you pay 4, tap, you put a +1/+1 on each of your creature. So he now has, on a each turn basis, the way to create 3 counters. Faeburrow makes 3 mana. It's the mental misstep was exiled on the Regavan. Nothing special happening, but he passes to Korvold, plays Tinderwall. Question is, will he sack Tinderwall? Well, he has 3 treasures. Sack 2 treasures, Tinderwall, 2 treasures, and taps the Badland to get Korvold, sack Dockside, put it +1/+1, will draw a card. No Orcish on the board yet. Orcish being one of the more and more we are punishing people for drawing cards, but we are also, well, here we see absolutely no blue, so there's no Mystic, no Ristic. But the more it goes, the more we are trying to stop people from drawing. Like I was saying, it's in his toolbox. He's gonna bring back the Dauntless Dismantler. We have 2 commander that are based, that their strategy is based around treasure. 1 white, sacrifice Dauntless, destroy all treasure, will actually easily kill anybody else's combo. So that is one superb way to bring it back and forth. The problem with that is, if anybody were running Graveyard Hate, they would have a field day with the Tayam player. Dropping Simic Signet, dropping the Soul Ring right after. So, of course, we're all gonna see and say why everybody is playing a bunch of artifact knowing that Dauntless is here. So you will see me skip across his Tainted Pack. You will see Blind Obedience, Underworld Breach, Anna's. We saw Jeska's Will. He will go next to Wheel of Fortune. He's digging for something for sure. Waiting on Demonic Tutor maybe, Cloudstone Curio. So if he passes on Cloudstone, it means it doesn't have Dockside in end, and went over Horiok Salvager. Then again, it doesn't have LED. So he keeps on digging with Tainted and go get the Dockside. Not part of what we saw, but it was the he passed over the LED, he passed over a bunch of other important stuff. I only shown you every card that he was stopping on, which means I was thinking about it. So we see him drop a land, well, attack with Ragavan and Magda, makes 2 treasure. Dauntless makes it that all treasures enters tapped, which is a big hindrance with a lot of decks. We'll drop Dockside. What will the Tayam player do? Even at that point, all of his treasures will enter tapped. So in a worst case scenario, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in a worst case scenario. Korvold doesn't crack his treasure. Tayam player is saying let me cook, which means that he is going to do a bunch of stuff. So tap is Savannah. We'll go get a Gas Cradle with the Knight by sacrificing that Savannah. With Cradle, he'll be able to make 4 green. He'll activate Tayam, and on answer on the Tayam activation, he'll sack the Dauntless Dismantler for 0. So it will kill all the treasures, the one that are up and the one that are dead. So Aura Shard, something something, bring back the Dauntless Dismantler. So 4, 5. He'll Gavani Township. No, he will Dismantler again for 2. So he will hit every artifact that is a 2 CMC. So Magda is the fake Magda, Civic Signet, and Arcane Signet. So you've got nothing left on the board. Sol Ring and Metavolt. So he'll be on ETB. He will create 2 treasures. Got no idea what he's gonna do. So 1, 2, 3 for Bergie. So he made a mistake. He had a double colorless leftover. He had 1 an inch into 1 on the mana card, but you see him tap the Spire to pay for Bergie. And he passes the turn. So on his draw, well, on upkeep, pops the Orcish Bowmaster. No, on his trigger for the fetch land, since you sacrifice something, you will draw for Korvold. So on ETBs will ping. What did he ping again? Tyvar. Ping Tyvar, re-ping to Tyvar. So drops Mox Diamond and drops a fetch land for it. 1, 2, 3, Necropotence, which is some crazy shenanigans. So he's going down to 17. Draw 7, goes to 17, goes to combat. Goes over to Tayam, triggers and sac Necropotence. Will draw from that. However, on cleanup, he'll drop Crop Rot finally, LED, Vamp Tutor, Veil of Summer, Wheel of Fortune, and something else. Now, Tayam goes to combat. All out Korvold.
First blood.
And I could not have said it better. First blood going to the Tayam player, swinging all out to the Korvold. So Kinnan player is having a bad day today. Destroying over and over the artifact. JeskaTymna swinging at the Korvold. So Tayam has a Fate Burrow, which is a I believe it's a 2/2, and you get +1/+1 for each other color. It's a 0/0, and it gets 1 for each color among permanent you control. So it is, at default, it is a 2/2. Now it is a 3/3, absolutely blocking Magda without issue. Exiling Finally of Devastation. So it is what it is. The question is, what could he go get? Drops a Cabal Ritual. Five. Of course, there is going to be a Bergie trigger. Tayam will trigger Gavoni Township. Bringing back Dauntless Dismantler. That is one of the worst stacks piece for non-Magda deck. So Bergie resolve, Cabal resolves. That's gonna be 6 mana on hand. He will crack everything, X equal 8 for a Hoarding Broodlord. Will get a Bergie trigger on the cast of Finally of Devastation. He will he convokes the Chthonian Nightmare. On casting the Chthonian Nightmare, he will get a Bergie trigger for 2 to get it up to 2. So right here, I kept it long because I wanted here. So you can activate Chthonian Nightmare if you have a valid target in your graveyard. Now here, because of Dauntless Dismantler, it doesn't do anything. But part of the cost is sacrifice a creature, well, first pay energy, sacrifice a creature, and return Chthonian Nightmare to your hand. And even if, let's say now he sacrifice Dockside will be a valid target after he pays everything. But you cannot pay if there is no creature in your graveyard. So this is something that you need to pay attention to. You can loop right away Chthonian with Dockside if there is another creature that you can target. So now you see him tries to go get Magda, brings back Magda. Bergie recast Chthonian. Bergie triggers. Will pay to sacrifice Magda, bring back Dockside, and then even though Dockside ETBs, the treasures are tapped. So at this point, it's kind of worrisome because he cannot loop it out. If the Dauntless would not have been there, he could have been able to loop Chthonian and Dockside to do Infinite Treasure. And of course, with Infinite Treasure, he can win because he can loop infinitely Jeska to ping everybody. Because Jeska enters with a number of loyalty counters per the number of time you casted a commander. So you saw her enter with 2. Next time she would have entered with 3, then with 4. And he can do X damage to 3 different targets over and over again. Tayam player activates Tayam. Of course, taps Faber Elder for 3. He'll go get Tyvar. He'll do -2 on Tyvar to try to dig something. We'll go bring back Scrib Ranger. He'll bring back Scrib Ranger to do the same shenanigan as before. Tap for a green. Activate Scrib, send back untap Fabero, retap Fabero to get 3 mana. We'll use the 3 mana to activate Tayam. Oh, actually, he'll take the 3 and the 1 floating to Gavani Township to put a +1/+1 on each of his creature. Use Gaia's Cradle. We'll use Gaia's Cradle to tap and activate Tayam. We'll bring back a Idol on the Frederick, closing out the game whilst taxing out his opponent. I wasn't sure why he passed at that point. I believe that he could have done another activation because he had 2 green left over. But then again, I am not a Tayam player. You know me, I play mono red. I play Talion sometimes. Talion is unable to counter spells. Wandering Archaic for Kinnan, so any instant or sorcery could be copied. Now with only 1 spell per turn, JeskaTymna needs to get rid of the Eidolon of Rhetoric. Hoarding Broodlord, swinging out to the Kinnan player. So mostly to draw this to draw a card with Tymna. I'm not gonna say that Tayam has the game in hand, but God, this is worrisome. We'll cast Dranit to stop people from looping or from casting from anywhere but their hand. All the commanders are there, so it's not going to be something. Activate Tayam on end of turn. It was Eatersworn something something. Vraska's join up is a good one. It will put a death touch counter on each of his creature. On tap. Drops his Bayou. Taps the Fabero for an Tayam activation. Ikachian, Swift Recon, and Devoted Druid. So we've got Devoted Druid. He has the Center Garden. So Center Garden will put 3+3/+3 on Devoted Druid. So at this point he can Is it gives? So Centaur Garden. No, Centaur Garden is +3/+3 on target creature. So it becomes a 4/4. You tap her for a green, -1/-1 to get a to untap. Tap for a green, -1/-1 to untap. So he has infinite Tayam activation, and at this point, whatever happens is not casting. The game will be closing. Congratulations to the Tayam player. If you learned anything, don't hesitate to leave a comment. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next game.